2v2 on Trois Pont. Haven't been on this map in quite some time, surprisingly enough. I don't know. I don't know why. It's just one of those maps that I just don't get to cast on all that frequently, which is a shame because I like it so much. But oh well. We're going to see Evalance and Sorceleur this game versus AchtAchter and MANK, who's already chosen Luftwaffe ground forces, which performs quite well on this map, so I certainly can't fault him for that decision. Evalance has access to Soviet shock army, counterattack tactics, and shock rifle front line, and Sorceleur has brought urban defense, lend-lease, and terror tactics. But that could be interesting. I don't see terror very frequently. In fact, I don't see any of these ever. No matter what he chooses, I'm gonna be excited to see how he uses it. So I approve of Sorceleur's loadout. Not really much of a 1v1 loadout, but I could definitely see it working pretty well in 2v2, especially lend-lease with the Allied supply drop. Terror has the bombing strike for taking out Pack 43s, as long as your teammates can bring proper heavy armor solutions. And urban defense we've also seen on this map, in fact, perform quite well in conjunction with heavy mortars, so I don't know what we're going to see. If you were going to go urban defense, you probably already would have chosen that. We have a light engagement happening on the left side already between conscripts and Volksgrenadiers, and it looks like the Allies are going to win this. MANK getting into the close range with those Volksgrenadiers first, before closing the distance with Sturm Pioneers, but the Allies have already switched to focusing fire on the Sturms. They will stop closing the gap, trying to continue to engage in yellow cover, and it actually looks like, since none of the models are dropping, they're going to pull ahead in this engagement and force a retreat. Soviet player didn't have reinforcements arriving quite in time. And Evalance is already mad. He's already mad. As Maxim takes up a position inside of this building and starts firing on some forces that are trying to take control of the fuel point. Kubelwagen making its way across the right side to try and contend with various allied forces. Will encounter one squad of conscripts, but other than that, nothing too serious. They are holed up in the church and will be adequately protected, while Sturm Pioneers lay reinforced barricades across the various approaches into the fuel point, and Volksgrenadiers are making their way across the strategic point and munitions points to get that territory under their control. Sorceleur has sent some forces to assist his teammate here on the left side to make sure that they can secure the munitions and fuel on the left before worrying too much about the resources on the right. And he only has one squad of conscripts providing vision/protection over the strategic points over there, and it looks like most of the action is going to be clustered on the left for the majority of this game, since the battle group headquarters has been built quite aggressively over here on the left side across the river for MANK, and he has spent 300 manpower on the retreat point unlocked before getting more than 3 squads. So that is a pretty bold opening from him, and whether or not he's able to hold that position will probably heavily influence the ebb and flow of the rest of the game. And it seems unlikely that he's going to survive without heavy support from his teammate, since Sorceleur and Evalance both are sending large quantities of conscripts and team weapons over here to apply pressure in the area. The question is whether they'll be aggressive early enough to locate this battle group headquarters and have a decisive engagement against it. It looks like Evalance's forces will see that it's been constructed, I think. I'm not sure if he got close enough to see it or not. Infantry in the area will move to screen against an advance. And an MG-34 is being fielded towards the battle group headquarters to try and assist in engagements and keep these conscripts at bay. Demo charges going down in the road will also help defend against Axis counterattack should he manage to hold his position. No minesweeper upgrades from MANK yet either. First Panzerschreck is in production, and the MG-34 will attempt to cross the river. Meanwhile, on the right side, AchtAchter is still playing pretty defensively over here. He has both of the walkways wired off. And shoe mine has gone down in the road as well. Sturm Pioneers taking control of the central victory point. despite being under maximum fire, look like they should be able to get the point under control. Kugelwagen screening against the advance of these conscripts, although they do get close enough to toss an anti-tank grenade, they'll be forced to retreat immediately, and the Kugelwagen will receive immediate repairs from the Sturm Pioneers in the area. Volksgrenadiers make their way into the capture circle and will be forced to engage with conscripts, which are oorahing past to try and hunt down that Kugelwagen, but they're running through red cover, and Sturm Pioneers take heavy losses and will be forced to retreat, and the late retreat results in the squad being fully wiped. Definitely could have executed that a little bit better.
Shock troops can now be used to crush the enemy. Fresh meat has
Since the engagements don't seem to really be going in the Allies' favor and they've been pushed completely off the map, the Axis are now taking control of all resource points on the left side. Combat engineers aren't going to be able to do much either. They are being upgraded with a flamethrower and hoping for some lucky crits, but they are going to get focused down by Volksgrenadiers from multiple angles, plus the MG-34 in the building will be more than enough to force a retreat.
Back up to full force.
Conscripts make their way across the right side, try to get some territory under control. They have to take an extremely unfortunate path because of these reinforced barricades, made more unfortunate by the fact that when they're forced to retreat, which they certainly will be, they're going to have to retreat this way and potentially get wiped, and if Sturm Pioneers can make their way into the retreat path, that's almost certainly a dead squad, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen since the Sturm Pioneers are currently tied up reinforcing here in the base. Volksgrenadiers should be more than enough to get that conscript squad out of there, but they're not going to be able to eliminate it completely. Evalance's forces are making their way up the left side with heavy mortar support, as he has chosen Soviet Shock Army. So we're probably going to see an ML-20 from him as well. This is another one of those maps that indirect fire performs extremely well, and we're probably going to see Stukas, Katyushas, and all that kind of stuff, and the ML-20 is no exception. Heavy mortar has been deployed and makes its way up behind this fence. From here it should be able to engage relatively safely and apply pressure to the battle group headquarters over here on the left. And once again, whether or not MANK can defend this position is likely going to determine the flow of the rest of this game, but Evalance walks right into a tier 4 structure and is immediately forced to retreat all the way back to his base. He does still have 3 squads available here, and Sorceleur is doing a good job of moving up to support him as well. Kugelwagen takes an anti-tank grenade and will be forced to retreat. Conscripts oorahing into close range are going to finish it off successfully, despite only being able to fire on its metal armor. They don't get that close, but the Kugelwagen is destroyed. AchtAchter will no longer have that available to him to try and suppress Soviet infantry making its way up the center. That being said, they still have a pretty secure hold on the resource points over here on the right side, and reinforced steel barricades are going to continue to make it difficult for allies to advance through this area until tanks arrive. Stuka just hit the field from AchtAchter. Wow, that was a beautiful opening barrage, wiping a shock troop squad and the heavy mortar immediately. If the rest of the Stuka's barrages this game are as successful as that one, allies aren't going to stand a chance. Sturm Pioneers are trying to move in close enough to salvage that heavy mortar or potentially steal it, but they're being forced to retreat by sustained fire from the conscripts, and another mortar has made its way to the front lines as well. Sorceleur has chosen terror tactics. I don't think he even had a commander with access to a heavy tank of any kind. And as a result, he will have access to a bomb run in the KV-8, but nothing beyond that.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture our territory.
Lux has been deployed to the left side and will force a retreat from some PPSH upgraded conscripts, but fortunately a field gun is on its way over there as well. And these demo charges are somehow still not detonated. Both in the middle of the road, yet the Axis have somehow managed to avoid them. They do have this Minesweeper, but I'm not sure either of them has been revealed. I think they just haven't stood on them yet. Should that Panzer II make its way down one of these roads, there's a significant chance that it will be destroyed. A demo charge isn't enough to one-shot it looks, but in combination with one anti-tank grenade or field gun shot, it would be. Ooh, there goes that Volksgrenadier squad. Grenade connects with this mortar and will force a retreat, but the heavy mortar is still a threat. Where did it go?
Enemy infantry!
Another very good Stuka barrage defroos and half destroys an AT gun over here on the left side. There's the heavy mortar, still reinforcing an Evalance's base. And almost no action on the right side of the map this game, which is so unusual. You usually see the action clustered on the right side of the map, but both teams are fighting heavily for the left, and I think that's primarily because of this interesting battle group headquarters placement. I'm surprised that he's been able to hold the line. The timing of his tier 4 structure was perfect and shut down all infantry pushes, and from this forward staging point he's been able to continue assaulting and being aggressive, and as a result the Allies have never been able to get into position to lay fire on this battle group headquarters and get it off the field. I think throwing the Panzer II on the field has helped in that regard a lot. If he had waited for a Panther, he may not have been able to keep these infantry formations at bay, and he may not have been able to be aggressive and continue screening the AT guns and mortars away from his battlegroup headquarters. His teammate is also doing an excellent job with his Stuka and applying pressure from other directions, especially to the victory points. Only 250 victory points currently remain for the Allies, and if they don't make something happen somewhere, I don't know if they'll be able to turn this game around, especially without the aid of late game call-in tanks. Since they don't have any call-in tanks, they're going to be relying on core units, and we will see a T-34 being produced by Sorceleur, while a Katyusha is being produced by Evalance, and hopefully they'll be able to utilize these higher tech units to make some progress over here.
AT grenades now available to all conscripts.
Barrage coming in on clustered Allied forces deals significant damage. One squad gets away with just a hair of health remaining, but yet another AT gun has been cleared. The linear nature of the combat on this map, especially on the left side, is just means the Stuka is having a field day. It's only barraged 3 times, and it's already up to 19 kills. A 19 kill Stuka 14 minutes into the game is just devastating. Hopefully this Katyusha will be able to perform similarly. If not, the Allies are just going to have nothing left.
We have 200 points remaining.
Panzer II is awaiting repairs here in the north. Some of the Axis infantry formations have been broken up, but not taken out. MANK is a little bit low on manpower as he tries to reinforce some of his squads, but part of that is because not only has he purchased a Panzer II, he's also purchased an infantry support gun, which represents a pretty big manpower investment, and he's kind of struggling to bring all of his forces to bear here as he contends with this Soviet double team. Meanwhile, AchtAchter has set up his battlegroup headquarters in this position, which does allow him to continue attacking from this angle, but most of his forces are clustered over here, and he's going to have to make sure to time his pushes with the Soviet pushes on his teammate, otherwise he risks allowing his teammate to get overwhelmed. That being said, their map control continues to be excellent, and should AchtAchter choose to make a cutoff maneuver, he could easily put pressure on the Soviet strategic points here in the southwest. Barrage lands nicely once again, but a Volksgrenadier squad does get wiped by conscript squads supporting in the area. Infantry support gun is starting to bombard now that it's been moved into position, but repairs are quite desperately needed on this battle group headquarters. AchtAchter is mobilizing his forces towards the center of Victory Point now, and a Katyusha is firing on the battle group headquarters, threatening to destroy it. Repairs have been halted to avoid the squad of Sturm Pioneers getting wiped, although they almost get wiped anyway, despite moving away to the widespread of the Katyusha barrage. And like I was saying before, MANK threatens getting overwhelmed if AchtAchter doesn't make a big counterattack through the center here. His teammate's not going to be able to hold the line. He just doesn't have the forces to do so. However, both Axis players are up to 165 fuel, and we're probably going to start seeing Panthers hitting the field very soon. The Lux has been destroyed by the demo charge in this road, and MANK's forces are starting to look thinner and thinner. Heavy mortar bombarding this area is applying pressure to AchtAchter's team weapons, and will probably force them to reposition and reinforce. Sorceleur is making a bit of a push for the bottom right to get some territory back under control in that area. And yet another squad of Volksgrenadiers might get wiped here. They narrowly escape this time. There are a lot of PPSHs in this area, which makes pushing with Axis infantry extremely dangerous to attempt. However, conscripts making an attempt to take control of the center Victory Point don't experience much more success and will get gunned down by MGs and Sturm Pioneers in the area. 2 T-34-76s have been produced by Sorceleur, and hopefully he'll be able to make something happen with these. Before the Panthers arrive, they will have total dominance of the field, and supported by a Katyusha, they have no problem breaking up infantry formations, with only one Raketenwerfer available to screen them. PPSH conscripts moving up to steal an MG-34 with flamethrower support. They inflict heavy losses, and AchtAchter is being forced to retreat and heal up, and the center Victory Point looks like it will fall into Allied hands. More flame crits going out on these Volksgrenadiers will continue to inflict manpower bleed upon him, and I'm wondering what the fuel purchases are going to be from the Axis. They've had excellent map control the entire game, yet neither of them has any tanks yet. Tier 4 structure still stands here for MANK, and he will be able to purchase himself a Panther anytime he wants. He has 200 fuel in the bank. AchtAchter is a little bit more behind on fuel because he purchased a Stuka instead of the Lux. But he himself should be able to afford a Panther within the next minute or so as well. ML-20 has been constructed here, or wait, where? Somewhere here, right outside the Soviet base, and it is positioned right next to the Katyusha. The indirect fire usage from Evalance will continue to bombard MANK's position, but somehow this battle group headquarters still stands. The Sturm Pioneers that he had available over here for repairs have since been wiped, probably by indirect fire, so he's going to need to field a fresh squad of those now. But fortunately, AchtAchter is making a counterattack over here and delays the indirect fire somewhat. Loses a full squad of his Volksgrenadiers to a demo charge, but does manage to clear out some of the Soviet indirect fire weapons, and as a result buy his teammates some time to repair these structures before he gets taken out. T-34 is receiving some repairs over here. And IL-2 is being called in on AchtAchter's forces here, but he should be able to withstand the strafe relatively easily as he has this retreat point set up. We actually have a bit of harassment by conscripts on the fuel point for the first time in quite a while. And they still had to make their way all the way around the reinforced steel barricade, but it will force AchtAchter to send forces to the east to respond. Obersoldaten taking control of the central victory point now with Reckenler for support, although they're outside the capture circle because of the cover positioning. And an ML-20 is now bombarding this battle group headquarters. Because he switched targets off of this battle group headquarters, he's actually not dealing all that much damage. If he had bombarded this position with that ML-20, he probably could have inflicted huge casualties and potentially wiped that Sturm Pioneer squad again. Seems like a strange decision to switch targets and alleviate some of the pressure on this Oberkommando West position that he was doing such a good job of taking out. It's really only a few barrages away from being destroyed if you were to combine fire from his Katyusha and ML-20 and potentially also some mortars. It's combined with a tank push from his teammate, I don't see how the Oberkommando West could possibly hold. But by splitting his fire between the two different battle group headquarters, it doesn't really accomplish anything. Infantry forces making their way up the left side will be forced to retreat. Infantry support gun trying to soften up some of these allied infantry, but it doesn't make enough of a difference, and the victory point will remain in allied hands for now. Only 130 points remain for the allies, unfortunately. And they absolutely have to get some territory under their control and keep it, but they don't seem to show any signs of being able to do so, at least not yet. Big push by T-34s making their way straight towards this Oberkommando West defensive position, but the Sturm Pioneers have already fully repaired the battle group headquarters. Panzerfaust connects from the Fallschirmjäger on the rear of this T-34 to damage his engine, and it will be in significant danger. Two Panzerschreck squads closing in to fire on it and try and finish it off. It will try and pull back to safety, but a bomb run gets called in thanks to the vision granted by that T-34, and the Tier 4 structure is destroyed, denying MANK the ability to purchase himself a Panther, but it doesn't look like he has any intention of doing so, and the Soviet players probably realize this as they will see that a mechanized regiment headquarters has been destructed here. Which means that a King Tiger is quite clearly on the way, and it will be purchased as soon as MANK collects manpower to do so. The 2nd T-34 and 3rd continue to contend for the victory point here in the center. Raketenwerfers are positioned to prevent tanks from crossing in this location. And it looks like Sorceleur is actually going to make a big push for the right side now with the bulk of his forces making their way towards the right side victory point fuel and munitions, which are still quite lightly defended, although these forces are positioned in such a way that they could be mobilized to support an engagement from the left side if necessary. Stuka takes out a field gun over there on the left side, destroying the weapon entirely such that it cannot be recrewed, and it continues to perform extremely well. It's only Vet 1 surprisingly, but it has 32 kills.
Enemy flanking us! Air attack! Air attack!
Another IL-2 Sturmovik is being called in. I think a squad of shock troops just got wiped on a shoe mine though. That was a really nice mine.
Flanking attack!
Big push by Evalance here on the battle group headquarters. Now that the Tier 4 structure is destroyed, there's nothing to screen this advance. PPSH conscripts have no problem clearing out what few infantry formations remain, but it's too late to make a meaningful difference because the King Tiger is already on its way. Although he won't be able to save his battle group headquarters and mechanized regiment headquarters from the Su-85, which is bombarding the position. Once that King Tiger hits the field, the pace of this game is probably drastically going to change. AchtAchter is probably going to be purchasing himself something of similar power soon. Although I don't know what it is. He has purchased all 3 trucks, and now his King Tiger is in production. And T-34-76 is just stand no chance against the King Tiger, honestly. Bazooka bombarding the center, I believe. Taking out a Maxim machine gun in the house. And the King Tiger will make its way up the left side. Allied infantry making their way up the right and center will be able to apply sufficient pressure to destroy another battle group headquarters over here, and it looks like they're making significant progress, and it's good that they're applying so much pressure with their tanks now before the King Tigers arrive. The question is, will they be able to survive once those King Tigers hit the field and start having a dramatic impact? This one over here has done very little, fortunately, thanks to the efforts of one Su-85, really, and nothing else. I don't know if T-34-76s are going to be able to perform similarly. This one has been brought down relatively low by Panzerschreck fire. This MG-34 will be forced to retreat. In fact, the Overcommander West are getting completely forced off the battlefield, and it looks like the Allies are winning, but once this King Tiger makes its way to the front lines, things may change. It's hard to say, especially since the Allies are so far behind for victory points. The Axis have a lot of time to make something happen and turn the game back around. King Tiger on the field lands 2 shots consecutively against that T-34-76, and it's trying to get to safety, and it looks like it will get out of the King Tiger's range. Conscripts will similarly be forced to retreat, trying to get this munitions under control before retreating. That King Tiger's gonna clear them out quite easily. Fortunately, their anti-tank grenade does connect. And the King Tiger has a damaged engine, but Stern Pioneers are available very nearby, and they'll be able to repair that King Tiger's engine in no time. In addition to this bridge, they also have some salvaging to do as well. Fresh T-34 making its way across the center will apply some pressure to these Obersoldaten, and because the King Tiger needs to get its engine repaired, can't quite move to engage them yet. T-34 is looking for opportunities to engage cost effectively over here, and they are doing a pretty good job taking advantage of this vision blocker to force a retreat before making their way back over to the left side to assist in engagements with Evalance. This King Tiger is being forced to continue its repairs here in the corner. These Su-85s are applying a lot of pressure to it, and this mechanized regiment headquarters is about to go down, which means they'll no longer benefit from the repairs that it provides. But now that another King Tiger is advancing from the center, Evalance is going to be in a lot of danger of being flanked. This Su-85 is probably going to get engaged from the south and north simultaneously. T-34 moving to ram that King Tiger, but it inflicts really minimal damage. It does almost nothing, in fact, destroying the main gun and immobilizing this T-34. King Tiger will have no problem engaging this, although a bomb run just got called right on the King Tiger, bringing it down to just below half health. One T-34 has been destroyed, and this one is moving up for a pretty suicidal engagement, honestly. It cannot possibly hope to win against the King Tiger unsupported. And it will pull back to disengage. There is a field gun available here to support. Meanwhile, the King Tiger in the north continues to contend with these 2 Su-85s, one of which has been brought down to about half health. The other is Vet 2 and will have to pull back to safety. The support package upgraded Stern Pioneers here will be able to repair that King Tiger relatively quickly, and the King Tiger in this location is also being repaired quite quickly. Once both of those King Tigers have received repairs and re-engage and continue whittling down Allied forces, we could see the Axis starting to crawl back onto the field and start the clock ticking against the Allies once again. Currently the clock is stopped. Infantry being hurled into the central victory point capture zone. Doing what it can. Conscripts being forced to retreat by these Obers. Obers may be forced to retreat in turn by the T-34-76, and I'm not sure either side is going to be able to take control of that victory point. Now, King Tiger moves up to engage here on the left side and continues to take heavy pressure from Su-85s and will be forced off the field for further repairs.
Grenadier, ready for action.
And Su-85s are performing quite well against the King Tigers because they have the numbers advantage and a range advantage. King Tigers don't have the speed to flank an Su-85 and engage it from behind, which means that without AchtAchter moving up to support from the center, there's not really a whole lot that MANK can do. AchtAchter is purchasing himself a second Stuka now, which means that they're going to be pretty light as far as tanks are concerned, and since MANK doesn't have access to a tier 4 structure anymore, he can't make Panthers. He has purchased himself a fresh battle group headquarters way here in the back, again with another retreat point unlock. So he does have access to the Jagd Panzer, but he doesn't quite have the fuel for it yet. Another engagement happening here in the center threatens to destroy this King Tiger. The ML-20 is bombarding it from range and is taking heavy damage. Field gun and T-34 shots are penetrating and it has to pull back to safety. It does round the corner and should be fine, and those Sturm Pioneers will need to pull back and administer repairs. But it only just barely survives that engagement, which means that it will not be able to support an engagement here on the left side, but a King Tiger is making its way through to try to assist in this engagement and maybe make something happen against the Su-85s. Tiger continues to just play cat and mouse with these Su-85s. It can't make anything happen. If it overcommits to an engagement and gets destroyed, the Allies will be free to advance and destroy everything. It's already in a pretty significant amount of danger, and the Allies look like they want to make a pretty aggressive push. Conscripts giving vision, leading the charge. They're charging into close range with these PPSH conscripts, means they do pretty significant damage to these Volksgrenadiers that would otherwise be able to screen. The squad looks like it could get wiped. It's not paying close enough attention, and there it goes. King Tiger has also fallen dangerously low and looks like it will get destroyed. Maybe. Su-85 that is trying to take out that King Tiger actually gets taken out by the Volksgrenadier screen here. Main gun destroyed crit on that King Tiger. I'm actually not sure what's going to happen here. He continues firing, but none of his shots will connect and finish the job. Infantry support gun bombarding the infantry that would be available to support, forces some retreats. Shock troops are moving up to try and help seal the deal. A T-34-76 is trying to move up and crushes some supporting Sturm Pioneers, and with a successful shot on the King Tiger's rear armor, that King Tiger will finally go down. Su-85 with a destroyed main gun will also be forced to retreat. T-34 will ram this King Tiger's rear armor to damage its engine. And another bombing run is being called in on it, but it looks like it will be dodged. Unfortunately, there are no Sturm Pioneers left alive here on the left side to repair AchtAchter's King Tiger, and the Su-85 should be able to get out of that engagement unpunished.
Squad at full strength.
And there are no forces left on the right half of this battlefield at all. Except for one fresh squad of Obersoldaten and some combat engineers.
We are ready to go, comrades. Su-85 tank destroyer ready.
Stuka barrage coming in towards the center, dealing further damage to various team weapons in the area.
IL-2 bomb strike may now be called in.
And light damage to a T-34-76. ML-20 bombarding this area, trying to apply pressure to this battle group headquarters, wipes another Volksgrenadier squad. And MANK is really on his last legs here, trying to fend off this Soviet double team is just proving far too much for him to be able to handle, and AchtAchter is not applying sufficient pressure on the right side to alleviate what MANK is forced to deal with over here. King Tiger moving up to defend infantry that may try and take control of the center, but in the meantime, Volksgrenadiers are doing some salvaging and capturing of territories on the right side. King Tiger forces retreat from one conscript squad. Probably be able to wipe out some field guns. A lot of the Soviet weaponry over here is heavily damaged. Might be fully destroyed, and if Volksgrenadiers can get in range to salvage some of this stuff, the Oberkommando West advantage will only grow. Big push here by Evalance to try and take out whatever might remain over here. Mechanized Regiment headquarters has been destroyed twice. This battle group headquarters is probably going to get taken out as well. AchtAchter's King Tiger has been brought rather low by field gunfire and will be forced back for repairs as well. Now that he has a second Stuka, one of which has 53 kills, if he can get some good hits on Evalance's infantry formations, he may be able to turn things around over here on the left side, but things are looking pretty good for the Allies. If this King Tiger were to go down, I don't know if the Axis would have a way to survive this game. But again, 300 victory points on the board. It's going to take some time to knock that all down. And they're operating on just core Soviet units. Just T-34-76s and Su-85s. With the exception of the ML-20, which has 23 kills in this Vet 3, so it's definitely doing a good job as well. T-34-76 is moving up to try and provide vision and open up opportunities for that howitzer, and he's going to have the munitions for another bomb run in the next 2 minutes or so. Su-85 moves up to start firing on this Tier 4 structure, and that'll be the second one, I think. Or no, that'll be the first one that AchtAchter will shut down his ability to continue producing Oversoldat once it gets destroyed. Stuka tries to convince that Su-85 to back off with a barrage, but it doesn't do significant enough damage, and the Tier 4 structure is going to be destroyed. There it goes. King Tiger is Vet 2 now and is making its way across the right side to try and assist in engagements to retake the right side fuel and victory points. Apparently Evalance is confused. Oh, Evalance.
Ready to execute.
Stuka firing. Does inflict minor casualties over here on the left side. Second Stuka not performing quite as well as the first one. Only 5 kills for this, despite I think 3 barrages? This one has like 20 in the same amount of shots. And there's no shortage of targets over here. Hasn't really managed to hit anything though, not recently anyway. The Axis have managed to retake just about everything over here on the right side as they redoubled their efforts over there and pretty much give up completely on the left. Going to try and focus on holding the center and right for now while they rebuild their armies a little bit. These T-34s really need to stop with the suicidal ramming maneuvers. That does not do anything. Bomb run getting called in on the Oversoldat and King Tiger. I think. Yes. Pretty good spread of those bombs, bringing the King Tiger down to about half. inflicting minor damage to the overset on squads as well. And we're actually going to see the very first cutoff maneuver of the entire game by either team. MANK sending one of his Vet 5 Volksgrenadier squads to take control of the Soviet resources here. For whatever that's worth, Sorceleur has been managing his fuel pretty well and buying T-34 76s, which to try and take out his opponent's infantry. And okay, he actually did take out a King Tiger with the T-34s, so definitely making things happen with those T-34s to the maximum possible extent. King Tiger, he's gonna try and follow up on that bomb run, but he's completely disengaging, which means Evalance is going to have to do the same. I think 2 more T-34s combined with SU-85 push actually could have taken out that King Tiger right there, because it doesn't have very much protecting its flanks. And those Stukas would have been next. The Allies were just too timid. I think they probably could have won that engagement, but they're just going to continue to defend the territory that they hold over here on the left side. And we have another nice push behind enemy lines by these Sturm Pioneers to empty out that ML-20, and they'll capture it. Can you salvage an ML-20? I think you probably can. That's probably what he should have done, but he captured it instead, which means it's either going to get destroyed or retaken by the Allies. Stukas bombarding the center are going to inflict huge casualties on team weapons and infantry alike. And the Soviets still have not retaken their cutoff point. Did this ML-20 fire at something? I don't know what it shot at, but apparently it did. It's going to get decrewed, unfortunately. Definitely should have salvaged that if that's possible. I don't know if it is, but I assume it probably is. I think so. Vet 3 SU-85 is a very effective deterrent to a King Tiger. It really stands no chance against it because of its superior range and massive rate of fire. If it can't somehow close the distance. Combat engineers harassing territory here in the south.
Supply half-track is ready for orders.
While Evalance's infantry takes control of last strategic point there in the north. ML-20 continues to bombard the center of Victory Point and make it very dangerous for Axis infantry to try to capture it. T-34 moving up, might use secure mode? No. Secure mode is one of those abilities that is really just awful, but can make a game-changing difference in these slugfests, when it really comes down to throwing everything you have into a capture circle. Stuka bombards the ML-20 and actually destroys the gun entirely, which is a shame because it was doing such good work over the course of this game, but it finally gets completely destroyed. MANK has produced himself a second King Tiger, and hopefully this one will experience more success. And I don't know why they keep making King Tigers rather than filling out their army with some lighter, more numerous options like a Yag Panther or a Panther or something. Being able to attack from multiple angles is really important when you're up against something like a Vet 3 SU-85, which has no problem dealing with one slow, heavy armored target at long range, whereas a Panther or Yag Panther moving in from an alternate direction would pose a more significant threat. But now that there's at least 2 King Tigers on the field, if they can approach from multiple directions, maybe they can make something happen. We're actually going to see a PaK-43 going up. It's extraordinarily late in the game to be getting one of these. But now that the ML-20 has been destroyed, I guess there's not much of a reason not to. There's still the threat of the Allied bomb run, however. Bombarding the left side once again, but by targeting tanks, it's not really going to take anything out. shock troops harassing some territory over here on the right side will keep the clock ticking against the Axis. And somehow the victory points have actually almost evened out. The Axis now have only a 60-some victory point lead. IL-2 being called in over here will deal light damage, apply pressure to infantry formations in the area, and because there's no battle group headquarters, all damage means that forces that are forced to retreat have to go all the way back to base and are completely forced off the battlefield for a significant amount of time. The IL-2 Sturmovik will provide vision of the Pak-43, so the Allies are well aware that it's in the area, and Evalance is moving his Su-85s out of its own fire. ML-20 gets reconstructed, and its very first barrage on this Pak-43 destroys it before it ever fires a single shot. The Allies respond pretty well to that threat. The King Tiger is a threat of its own, making its way towards the center. A lot of Allied infantry is flooding into the capture circle, but it looks like they could potentially get taken out by the Stuka. The Stuka actually wasn't firing in the center, though. It fired somewhere over here. And the fresh King Tiger is making its way up to try to apply pressure to those Su-85s and make them reposition away from the central point. The Vet 3 King Tiger is awaiting repairs around the corner. Volks Grenadiers in the capture circle will try and get the victory point under Axis control once again. And the map is just absolutely split in half. I think the Axis would have a lot more success if they made a flank around the north. But by just shoving forces into the center victory point from one direction, it's just a total meat grinder on both sides. These T-34s are not particularly likely to be more successful than those King Tigers were just a second ago. They get annihilated. King Tigers are slowly being repaired, and once they're brought back to full, they may make yet another push through this gauntlet, which will probably fail in the face of three Su-85s and a field gun. Just parking this King Tiger right in front of massed anti-tank weaponry. Although those shocks just threw a smoke grenade, which is actually kind of protecting them. But simultaneously allowing the shock troops to try to take control of the center victory point, and they may get the clock ticking against the Axis again if they can do so. Nope, get wiped.
Enemy has killed another infantry squad.
It's just too dangerous to try and take control of this victory point. Both sides should probably try another alternative approach and harass different areas of the map. We will see Fallschirmjäger deployed out of this building to try and get this victory point under control, but there's a T-34-76 available over here to defend, and they'll probably be forced to retreat before they can fully capture the point. Wow, so much anti-tank firepower. Even a Vet 3 King Tiger cannot show itself for more than a few seconds without being forced to relocate. But that Su-85 exposed itself for a little too long as well, and does get abandoned. The King Tiger doesn't quite have the range to finish it off, fortunately, and Soviets should be able to recrew that and get it back in action.
Fallschirmjäger ready for deployment. Squad back, secure the vehicle. Location set. Begin command.
Pretty aggressive play here by Evalance, sending his Su-85s deep behind enemy lines to try and make a decisive engagement against this King Tiger, but AchtAchter has fielded himself a second King Tiger, And once he gets behind these Su-85s with it, they're going to be in a significant amount of danger. The only thing that can screen it away are some conscript anti-tank grenades, and he's going to have to pray for a lucky penetration to damage the engine. T-34s are going in pretty hard with Su-85 support, but the Vet 4 King Tiger has moved around to try and take advantage of these line-of-sight blockers to save that King Tiger, while the other one moves up to try and support from behind. The Su-85s are having trouble finding a line on that King Tiger, but the T-34-76s do get behind it and take it out. Nice play by Sorceleur, using his pretty bad medium tanks to still take on King Tigers this game. The Su-85, I don't even know what these Su-85s are doing. It's kind of weird. There's still 2 King Tigers for them to deal with, one moving way down here into the south, and it looks like everything's going to get cleaned up, despite them taking out the Vet 4 King Tiger. And while that is a big victory, I'm not sure that's going to matter now that all the T-34-76s and Su-85s are falling. The Vet 3 Su-85 in particular just got blasted and abandoned, and the Axis may even be able to recover that. Evalance is firing on it with his remaining Su-85 to make sure that the Axis cannot recover that allied tank, but he has to expose his Su-85 to a lot of danger just to be able to do so because of the smoke screen here. There it is, though. He has destroyed the abandoned Su-85 before pulling his own to safety. I've never seen a Vet 4 King Tiger get killed by a T-34-76. Push. It's always T-34-85s with marked vehicle. This is kind of amusing.
Enemy forces are capturing our supplies.
Folks Grenadiers are taking control. Of the center victory point. Smoke grenade and regular grenade being tossed to try and take out those Folks Grenadiers and delay the capture of this point, and it's really coming down to the wire now. Both teams within 50 victory points of each other, within 100 victory points of the game. Shock troops will be forced to retreat by fire from that King Tiger and grenades. And again, nobody can capture this victory point. It's just too dangerous. Another bomb run gets called in, but it's just slightly off target as the King Tiger pulls back to safety, and it will be receiving repairs shortly. Stern Pioneers available in the area, plus a mechanized regiment headquarters for repairs to try and keep these heavy tanks operable. As for the Soviets, they just continue to flood the battlefield with Su-85s and T-34s because they have no other options. Nice cutoff maneuver by MANK again to try and slow the Allied war machine, and it is meaningful, even though usually at this point in the game resources don't seem to matter that much. In this game they do. We can see that almost all players are managing their fuel incomes, and none of them have more than enough fuel for one high-tech unit. Evalance has to continue Su-85 production. He's got 4 on the battlefield, and he really does need this many to deal with the sheer quantity of Axis-heavy units. And Sorceleur is spending his fuel even more rapidly, just flooding the field with T-34-76s as much as he feasibly can. Su-85 exposes itself to harm for a little bit too long. King Tigers will succeed in taking it out. This King Tiger takes a heavy burst of damage, but it will manage to get to safety. And Evalance is going to make another huge flanking maneuver around the north, sending his Su-85s across this bridge, trying to make something happen against this King Tiger, but again, vision blockers. He just can't do it, and these tanks don't have turrets. This was just not gonna succeed. He gets one shot on that King Tiger, but it's being repaired extremely rapidly by these two squads of Sturm Pioneers from his teammate MANK.
Push your attack. They're down to 50 points. Armor destroyed. We've lost a squad of infantry. Enemy squad down! Under enemy fire!
Su-85 is getting taken out as they try to make an aggressive push because the Su-85 is just not a very good offensive tank destroyer. You need to utilize it defensively the way he had been for the entire rest of this game, but everything Evalance had is now evaporated. He doesn't have any tanks left because he got impatient and tried to make a big push. And it just didn't work. Now there's not really a whole lot left to defend against a big push by these King Tigers, and ramming the frontal armor of a King Tiger with T-3476 is just doesn't do anything.
The enemy has destroyed one of our vehicles.
Looks like the Axis are going to prevail. There you have it. Allies have lost all of their armored units and they will surrender. Good game. Lengthy game. Axis wins. I honestly wasn't sure how it was going to end for a while there. The Axis had a huge early lead, but it was all crumbling down due to some nice coordinated pushes by Soviet Corps units, and it's a shame that they were not able to maintain that pressure and that push, and all of these King Tigers just were too much for them to handle. And it really came down to some poor plays by Evalance, really utilizing his Su-85s like main battle tanks, charging in with these deep flanks, putting them in situations from which they were not going to be able to engage effectively. So good game. Axis wins.